Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back in with you guys for another show, for another episode of our Raw Reaction series. This is, of course, the show in which we react to the latest Arsenal news. And there is big news breaking today. Well, the news which we've all been waiting for about a few days now. It's taken its time, as things do with Arsenal. I find that every time that Arsenal announce something, it takes time for that to actually happen, and we know it's going to happen, but it takes ages, like the Pepe thing or like Alba when he signed. And once again, Arsenal fans have been left waiting for this signing to be announced, and now it has been announced, and Mikel Arteta is the new head coach of Arsenal Football Club. So give me your thoughts in the chat box. Tell me, what do you think is, or what do you think is up? What do you think about this appointment? Is it the person you would have gone for? Even if it isn't, are you going to be giving the head coach all your backing ahead of his first game, which apparently will not be against Everton at the weekend? Apparently, Freddie Ljungberg will be the guy in the dugout. Whether or not he gets to choose the lineup, I don't know. But apparently that Mikel Arteta's first game will be against Bournemouth on Boxing Day. So we've got to wait till after Christmas until we get that. But let's get some of your thoughts in our chat today. Chris Giver says, good morning, T. Good morning, Chris. All right, Matt, good to have you in here. Super says, we are down. The only way is up. Exactly. That's how you want to think about these. Martin, how are you feeling, Tom? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about this. This is the person that I kind of wanted if you couldn't get the likes of Marco Rosa. So I'm happy that we didn't go down the route of Ancelotti and Mourinho, and instead we went for Arteta, and I am happy about that. Good morning, Nico. Athos says, I reckon he'll be great. It's a good move. Say Levy says, the best decision of the board in this decade. Wow, that is some high praise from Say Levy there. Matthew Hudson says, I'm not really excited, but will totally back him and hope that the flipping spineless board and inept owners back him. Tom Fed says, okay, so who should Arteta list for transfer in January? I'm sure we can get onto some transfer stuff a little bit later on. Josh Watson says, we have taken the leap into a bit of the unknown, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Club taking a calculated, exciting risk. Corey says, I'm happy with it. Washed up has been managers like Mourinho will only drag us further down. Nico says, it's only a successful signing if the board backs him. Exactly. Big ND says, good news, just back him with the cash. Let's have a look at actually what he said on the Arsenal website. He says it's a huge honour. Arsenal is one of the biggest clubs in the world. We need to be competing for the top trophies in the game, and that's been made very clear to me in my discussions with Stan and Josh Kroenke and the senior people from the club. We all know there is a lot of work to be done to achieve that, but I am confident we'll do it. I'm realistic enough to know it won't happen overnight, but the current squad has plenty of talent, and there is a great pipeline of young players coming through from the academy. Mikel's coaching team will be announced very, very soon. So before we move on to what Josh has to say on it, he knows what he's coming into. He knows that he's coming into a team which is inept of any sort of creativity, inept of any sort of defensive stability, and even the morale and the success that needs to be turned around. And I don't expect it to be turned around this season, if I'm honest. I don't expect Arteta to come in and immediately have that impact that we need him to have. And I don't think that will happen in the last 6 months or so of the season. I think we are going to have to wait and be patient until he's been given a little bit of backing in the transfer window to attack next season, which is where it will all hopefully kick off a lot more positively. We'll have to keep our fingers crossed and wait and see if that happens. Let's have a look at what Josh says about this then. He says, Josh, speaking on behalf of the Arsenal board and our owners, KSE, said, we're delighted to be bringing Mikel back to Arsenal. He knows our expectation and those of our fans around the world are high, and we are confident he can play a lead role in taking the club back to levels we all demand. I also want to thank Freddie Ljungberg for skillfully guiding us through the last 3 weeks. He stepped up at short notice and has helped us through this difficult period with great professionalism. Head of coach Raul Sanielli says, we met several top-class candidates and Mikel stood out to every single one of us as the perfect person. Mikel understands Arsenal Football Club and what it means to our fans around the world. We look forward to him getting down to work and bringing the best out of our squad as we work to get our season back on track. I must also pay tribute to Freddie Ljungberg for his hard work and leadership together with Per. He has done a vital job for us in difficult circumstances. Freddie and Per are important parts of the Arsenal family and care deeply for this club. So there you go. That is all the words so far. I imagine that we will get a press conference at some point. Whether or not it's happening right now, I don't know, because I'm not on social media at the moment. But I will be doing a video, I'm sure, reacting to the first press conference of Mikel Arteta. But let's get some more of your comments in our chat box. Glenn says, do you think Arteta will get rid of the players who aren't committed 100%? I expect him to. Bulgarian Guna says 5 p.m, Tom. So 5 p.m, press conference, you will get another video. I'm sure we're reacting to that press conference. Running Aussie says the fans need to come together more than ever. Let's get behind Arteta, win, lose, or draw. We need to back him, says Jubilani. Martin says, what kind of assistant do you think he'll bring with him? Yet to be announced. Yeah, I'm really not sure. We think we know that Iñaki Kana is going to be the goalkeeping coach, who's coming from Brentford. Very, very highly rated goalkeeping coach, who's been at Barcelona, has been at Nordsjælland, has been now at Brentford and taking his skills all over and improved wherever he's gone. He's very highly rated. So hopefully Bernd Leno and Emi Martinez are going to get the best out of him as a coach. But in terms of an assistant manager, I don't know. We can assume that Freddie Ljungberg is going to be on the team still, which is really good. It's good to see that he's still going to be there for that consistency. But in terms of who actually will be his number one assistant, I just don't know. Awolo says, good news and wish him luck and hope the inept board wakes up and backs him. Sell anyone not ready to play for him and get in players that will respect him. We don't want a toxic dressing room. Bulgarian Guna says Steve Round as well. Steve is Round, of course. Former Villa director of football. Steve Round. Interesting. Abraham says season is a write-off. Just want to see us get some wins and progression. And I think that is the key thing. I think that is the key word to talk about this, is that we want to see progression. If things continue the way they have, then that is not going to do anything to sort of get the fans on side, even though it's not a huge surprise things do still continue to dip, because not much has changed. The head coach has changed, but actually the guys that are on that pitch, they're still the same. Still could be putting in the same poor performances, still could be making key mistakes and stupid errors. That's not down to Arteta in the short term, but in the long term, if he doesn't turn it around and doesn't make the signings and doesn't improve players, then that is when he will be culpable for things. But right now, this season, as Abraham says, it is a write-off, and we just need to see some form of progression moving forwards. Chucky says, will he use 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1? I have no idea. I imagine that he'll go for a 4-2-3-1, because, I mean, that is the system that is deployed under Pep. But if you think about it, do we have the personnel to play that system? Do we have the two for the pivot right now? I'm not sure. So it's going to be interesting to see what sort of lineup he does go for. Brett Oxford says, just hope he can cope with the big personalities. Personally, think he's the kind that looks quiet on the surface but commands a big presence in person. Looking forward to his contribution. Richard Cannon says, I'm looking forward to the summer. I'll be interested to see the type of players we bring in and let go. No more self-rewarding divas in this team. Hyper says that he thinks it's going to be a 4-3-3. Bernard says that we need to support him for now. It's not even for now. We need to support him non-stop. I wanted change at the end of the Wenger era. I wanted change at the end of the Unai Emery era. But I still backed and supported those two coaches whilst they were in the job, because we're fans, and that's what fans are supposed to do. Anyone that's turning around saying they're not going to back this guy because it's not who they wanted, get over yourselves. Bulgarian Guna says, really interesting CV Steve Round has. Also part of Allardyce and McLaren staff at Newcastle and Borough, respectively. So maybe this is the person that we're going for. I personally never heard of him, Bulgarian Guna, Steve Round. So interesting that you're bringing him up, and that's who you reckon is going to be signed up by the Arsenal. Viz says, do you reckon that Mikel will ignore past relationships with the present players in his lineup? 100% I do. Mikel, we know, is a professional. He's coming into a team that he has experience with playing with some of these players, against some of these players. I saw a fantastic video of Arteta taking out the ball away from Aubameyang when we played against Dortmund in the Champions League a few seasons back. So they know him all too well. They know what he's about, and hopefully he can get the best from them. Jubilani says, am I the only one not writing off this season? Everyone is inconsistent. We have 22 points. Chelsea sitting in fourth have 29. Maybe it's not a write-off. And maybe, Jubilani, you raise a decent point. There is still a chance to do this. Vera Chuchia, thank you for or Chuchia. I'm so sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. Thank you for the £5 donation. He says, very excited about this, Tom. Let's get behind him. A clear out is now needed at the club. Martin McDermott says, no left backs, no right backs, no spine. Going to be so difficult. Can our fans adjust their expectations? Again, it's just going to be open from now. My opinion is that just going to wait and see what happens. Hopefully we see some form of progression, but he's got a hell of a task. But if you think about it, we do have a right back in Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I know he's not an out-and-out right back, but we don't really have a left back. Now, Manchester City had that same issue for quite a while. Whilst they didn't have Mendy because he was injured, they put Zinchenko in there, who isn't an out-and-out left back, but they made him do that job. And hopefully the experience of coaching players that aren't too comfortable in that position will hopefully help Arteta in that situation. Jack Webb says, Tom, forget Arteta. What the hell do we do at left back? Yeah, again, we've just sort of covered that. I think that Saka will be the one to come in. I have a feeling you may see us go to a back three to sort of deal with this, with Saka playing as sort of a wing back, because playing in a back four, Saka is just going to be so exposed. So I can see us going to a back three, maybe with Holding coming in now that he's apparently fit again. Maitland-Niles on the right, Saka on the left, and then hopefully with two in the middle and then three up top. Similar to how Wolves line up their team in a sense. So it's probably the way that we're going to go with it. Viz says, do you think that Arteta will have his say on our tactics and line up for Everton? Tough question. That's probably one to wait for the press conference to see what he says ahead of Everton. As far as I understand, he's not going to be in the dugout. He's going to be in the stands, but that could change. That could change. We have to build around Saliba, says Paul. He's coming in next season. It's a really interesting one that we're going to get in. Hopefully he can provide that stability that we need. Chris Giwa says, we'll be interested to see how he approaches changing the weak mentality, weeding players out, getting tougher and benching some. Yeah, he needs to be coming in straight away and being demanding from the minute go. It is so important that he does that ahead of what he's got in this really difficult situation that he has. Chucky says, what time is the press conference? Apparently it's 5 o'clock. So hopefully I'll be able to put a video out for you guys as soon as that is there. So there you have it. That's sort of my initial reaction to and your initial reaction to the Arteta appointment. I'm happy about it. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. We needed to get this done. We need to get a backroom staff around him. But until we hear from the man himself a little bit more in that press conference supposedly later on today, we can't draw too many conclusions at this early stage. So join us a little bit later on. We'll be back for a Raw Reaction show discussing his press conference. Just before we go, though, Chris P, thank you for the donation. He says, time for Chambers and Holding to partnership in defence, Tom. Yeah, in a back three, that's probably somewhere where you could go for it. In a back four, might be a little bit tricky with their inexperience and lack of game time for some of them, but it's definitely a possibility. So join me at 5 o'clock-ish around there to talk about the press conference that will be done at Arsenal very, very soon. I will see you then. Please enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and I'll see you soon. And as always, up the Arsenal.